All right, guys, let's take a look at Chapter 12. This is the chapter on making proposals. In today's non-programmatic media advertising marketplace, a typical proposal contains, at the very least, these elements. It's going to share the available inventory that you are making to a client. It's going to talk about the prices of what you are charging them, the terms and the conditions of the way that the agreement is going to roll out as well. Now, except for the inventory, because especially if we're talking TV and radio, there may only be limited inventory. These things are pretty much going to be negotiable. So this is the starting point of trying to put together and consume a deal. Now, there's some questions that we may want to ask when it comes to putting a proposal together. First, what is the ultimate purpose of a proposal? The purpose of a proposal is to open a negotiation that will result in a favorable outcome. So you're trying to put together an attractive package that gets their curiosity interested. It makes them interested in terms of actually pulling the trigger on some sort of a deal. Maybe it's the deal that you have in front of them and they're happy with it as is, or maybe it gets them talking and making some counter proposals and trying to get some offers and that sort of thing. Now, to whom should a proposal appeal? A proposal should appeal to the decision maker's writer. So you are now dealing with the rational personality. In the educating or presentation step, you were dealing a lot with the emotional aspect of things. You were dealing with the elephants. Now you're dealing with data and numbers and logistics, so you want to appeal to the rational side of the decision maker. What is the best way to format a proposal? A proposal should be formatted the way that a prospect, client, or agency wants it to be formatted. If they specifically ask that things be put together in a certain way, you do it for them that way. If, as you're talking with them and dealing with them, you sense that they may accept information better in a certain format than another, then you appeal to that and give them what they want. One thing to keep in mind, when you're doing the educating step, that's where PowerPoint is a powerful tool. But when you are proposing various packages, the documents there, you're better to use something like Excel to be able to show the grid of the numbers and the figures and how everything works. Some proposal do's. Do check with your prospect, client, or agency about what format they prefer. Ask them how they like to see their information. Once you put it together, make sure that the information is data-based and it is credible. Also, do remember that proposal documents will probably be shared with people that were not at your educating presentation, and they may not be familiar with your benefits and your advantages. So because of that, you need to attach clarifying documents that expand on the benefits and advantages that you have previously highlighted. Might not be a bad idea to go ahead and send off the PowerPoint that you did in that educating step. Could be a helpful addition. And that way they have it in a digital file and it's on record. Keep the proposal worksheet file size small enough to attach to an email. Keep that in mind too. Many times when you're putting together documents, if you're adding lots of graphics and things like that, that can inflate the file size. Sometimes if you convert it into a PDF, it can also inflate the file size. Keep that in mind. Email can only handle a certain size document before it starts running into problems. So at the very least, try to make sure that email is able to handle the file that you are sending off. A couple of don'ts. Don't ever submit just one proposal. Give a couple of different options to the folks that you're dealing with so that they can choose. A or B, or A, B, or C. Don't impose your company's preferred presentation or proposal design or template on prospects, clients, or agencies. Again, give them what they want, how they want to see it. And then don't ever submit a software or AI-generated proposal in its original form. Many times those things are really complicated to read, and even if they're not in terms of just looking at it, sometimes the information that's on there could be irrelevant or maybe even confusing. How detailed and how long should a proposal be? A proposal should be as detailed and as long as is needed in order for you to win. Now, this is where you need to kind of have a certain amount of rationality as to what you're putting together. Obviously, you don't want to send a novel. You don't want to overwhelm prospects, clients, or agencies, but you want to give them what they have agreed to consider. You want to give them a straightforward proposal, so make sure you do include everything that is necessary for them to look over and to consider. Don't give them more than that, but give them what they need to see, and I would also suggest putting it together in a way that it's easy for them to find specific information. Make use of things like headings, and if you've got a larger document, maybe even a table of contents or something like that. Have it with a nice logical flow for people to be able to follow and look for the specific information that they want. Now, what are the ordering tactics for proposals? A couple that we'll talk about here. First one, the foot in the door ordering tactic. This is where you show the various packages from the smallest to the largest. There's good examples of this, and the other one that we'll talk about in your textbook. I would recommend that you read those sections so that you can get a sense of what the author's talking about with the various examples that he's provided there. They're really, really good in helping to explain these. But I'm going to try to explain this in a very broad brushstroke sort of way. Each proposal lists a price per package, a price per spot, and the number of spots. So you have the total price of what the package would cost, but it also breaks it down into what that means, how much you're paying per individual ad, and how many ads that they would expect to get. Each proposal would include a couple of different things. In addition to that, it would include benefits statements. These are basically things that list some of the different reasons that people would want to be able to take that particular package, what they get for what they're paying for in addition to the ads, and also advantage statements, an opportunity to show services that you provide, perhaps things that might be over and beyond just the airing of their commercials. Now, as proposals increase, you want to show benefits and advantages that increase in number. So perhaps for your smallest package, for example, you might have 3 benefits and 3 advantages. For your medium-sized package, maybe you add a couple more, 5 benefits, 5 advantages, and then you put as many as you possibly can in your largest package that you're offering. Basically, what we're talking about here is not just showing the advantage of whatever cost savings there might be, but perhaps including certain added value, or some companies call it bonus offerings. This shows increasing rewards to the buyer for investing more. So what do we mean by added value or by bonus? It may mean that the client would get some advertising spots that air for free that they don't have to pay for. It may mean that there's additional elements that are included, such as studio naming rights or a billboard for the traffic report or something of that nature. Maybe they get a banner on the station website. These are all just examples of different things that a station can offer as added value. Now, the other tactic the book talks about is the door-in-the-face ordering tactic. This reverses the way that you present the packages. You're now listing them large, medium, and small. This is a tactic that you might use if you suspect that a client may try to lowball you in terms of not paying full price or the expected price that you want for an advertising package. When you do this, basically what you do is you make the large proposal unrealistically large so that it makes the second and third proposals seem a little more reasonable. Now, the main difference when you present in this way is that instead of increasing the number of benefits and advantages in the proposal for each of the packages, you're going to include the same number. So if you decide you're going to offer 3 benefits and 3 advantages, you do that for each one of the packages. Now, you don't want to include any added value things when you present a package in this way, because if you're dealing with someone that's trying to get the most for their money, these are things that they're probably going to try to get out of you. So if you offer them that in the beginning, they're going to try to get even more. So the best kind of mode of action here is for you to save those extras so that you can use them as clincher closes, and we'll talk more about clincher closes in a later chapter. But basically, you want to try to hold the price that you've got listed there, and instead of giving in on price, you can give certain concessions, like some of the things that you might offer as added value in another scenario. Now, let's talk about AI and proposals. Most media sales organizations do use some sort of customer relationship management software that's called CRM, or they might use some other sort of sales process or sales administration software. But basically what's going on here is that there's a little more integrity, for lack of a better word, when it comes to making sure that the prices that are being quoted are accurate. It also ensures compliances with sales processes, saves time in people trying to craft packages and do the math and all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of advantage in that regard. Having the facts be facts, they're on paper on purpose, in putting together a proposal by using these AI tools. Now, the thing of it is, though, that all algorithms will share 2 characteristics. First, they're literal. They will do exactly what you ask them to do. So you got to have a little programming skill. You got to think a bit like a computer. It doesn't know that, oh, you meant to do this thing. It's going to do exactly what you input into the computer. Also, they're black boxes, meaning they don't explain why they offer particular recommendations. They take the data, they crunch the numbers, they process it, then they spit out what the package is going to be. So this is where the human element is helpful. You can go in and take what the AI gives you and then adjust it and finesse it to meet the specialized needs of a particular client. With that said, it makes your job easier if, when you give instructions to an algorithm, you want to be explicit about all of your goals and strategies. Try to get the computer to think about as many things as you are thinking about. Choose the right data inputs as well, so that once you get the information on the proposals that the AI provides, perhaps there's not as much finessing that you would need to do. And that is Chapter 12. How you like that? Just one video for a chapter. That's nice, isn't it? Well, you've got no excuse now. You've got plenty of time to do the notes and the study questions and have your thoughts, and come and talk about those things in class when we get together and talk about proposals. See you then.